Um, the chemistry of the team seems like it's good through these first three games. Then next week you lose Yakimakis, possibly Etienne. How much balance do you try to put in terms of lineup choices for this week, knowing those guys aren't going to be available next week?
I'm just focused on this week. I'm not focused on next week. I want to put the best possible lineup for this game against Portland. Then we'll try to worry about Columbus.
Coach, speaking to Anthony Hudson yesterday, he mentioned that in calling up Miles, like they had a plan in place that they spoke to the club. Were you part of those conversations just with the U.S. men's national team and how to handle Miles in this upcoming camp?
No, I wasn't part of those conversations, but I'm aware of the conversations. Yeah.
How do you feel like about Miles going now? Like considering, obviously he's in good form, but it's still early in his recovery. What's your thoughts there, considering that he's a very important player for you?
Yeah, well, it is his right, right? It's his national team, so with that, it's all about heart and feeling coming back to your national team. I'm sure Miles is motivated to come back, so I'm happy for him on that. It's just, yeah, obviously on the physical side, there are some things that we as a club we express to the national team that we think we should work together on how to progress Miles, which I think they were very. Respectful and understanding those situations, and I think it's going to be just fine. I'm not worried at all at Miles going there because I know the U.S. soccer takes a good care of our players and we have good communication, so I'm not worried about that.
I asked Brad a similar question, but again, looking around, I think this might be right. I don't think Atlanta has started undefeated in their history. What is that a sign of, in your opinion, of this current group?
Honestly, yeah, those stats and people told me, yeah, the best start of Atlanta United in the first three games and all that. Honestly, for me, just focus on game by game. Every game is different, and you saw it. I mean, the first game probably we didn't play our best game and we won. Second one we played a little bit better and we tied. The third one was a complete different game in terms of style, and we didn't dominate possession, but we looked very solid. We scored 3 goals earlier. We managed very well the game. So every game presents different challenges, and I'm not focused on beaten on that. At some point, every team loses. It's just a matter of continuing with the development of the team and the ethos of the team, and the culture of the team, and the style of the team, the cohesion of the team. So it's about game by game progressing our game, and that's all is in my mind. Then hopefully yes we can start to get more of the best of this, the best of that, but that will come if we start to think game by game and focus on only in one game at a time.
Is the team where you think it should be, like based on the preseason that you had, uh, the form of the players after 3 matches and after training? Are they in a place where you thought they would be, perhaps tactically, understanding the evolution? You mentioned the ethos. Is this still a build towards perhaps somewhere where you want to see something different? Where's the team right now in your eyes?
Honestly, it's a little bit better than I expected, to be honest. The cohesion, the mentality, how to manage certain moments. And I'm talking about the cohesion because if you remember, Derek Etienne was injured for most of the preseason. We didn't have Yakumakis until late in the preseason. The same with Abram. So there were a couple, ups and downs, some injuries, the fracture on the bone with Omar, Santi with a fracture in the hand, Tyler with the shoulder. So we, at some point, it was challenging to do the training sessions in that in preseason. So we had a couple challenges there. So I wasn't expecting this level of cohesion and understanding in the first few games. But good that we are in this moment now, and now, as players start to be reintegrated in the team, Eric Lopez is back in the team, is training back with us. So all of that is, just adding more competition and hopefully more cohesion to the team.
Why is that, by the way?
What?
Why was Eric with the twos for a while and now back with the first team now?
Well, we decided that he needed to do a little bit of that process with the twos initially, and then I had a very good conversation with him where I set expectations, and then we felt confident that from now on he's going to be a good player, a good member of the squad, and we felt it was necessary to have that process.
Do you see him as a striker, which he was originally signed to play, or as a winger, which he got turned into?
Yeah, I think he's one of those players can play multiple positions. We know in Olympia he was a number 9. He scored a few goals, Copa Libertadores, all that. I think he's mobile as well. He can play a false 9 role, a double 9 where he drops a bit more on beneath and he's kind of in behind. a little bit of an 8-10 in between the pockets, and from there arrive from second line into the box. And also he's been playing in the second team as a winger. So I think he's one of those that can give us multiple options, same as matchups, same as Tyler. There are a few of those that can play multiple positions, Caleb, and he's good for the team. He's having more options.
Portland's injury list is very, very long. We're assuming, like most opponents, you're going to come in and bunker against y'all, try to play a low block. Are you satisfied with the team's progress in trying to break those down?
Well, first of all, no assumptions. Portland, if I know something about Portland, is they are always competitive, especially with Gio. Like no matter who they put on the field, they are always competitive, battle, fight for every ball. So I know that side. So I don't think they're a team that are going to be feeling sorry for themselves for having a lot of injuries. They are going to come with everything, trying to win and trying to beat us. So no assumptions at all. Is for me more the process of how we do that. I understand your question. Most of the time we've been dominating in possession in the bends, and how we do that, I would say, around the world is something that is very difficult to do. It's not easy to have 11 players on 30 by 76 yards and put a player with time and space in front of the goal to score goals. So it's not easy to do. But we're working on that. Today was a bit tactical on different scenarios. One of those was that, breaking a low block. The team did very well. We scored a couple goals, and we're happy with that. Obviously, in the game, it's always a different challenge, different tactics. Maybe they play 4-4-2, 5-3-2, whatever lineup they come up. We need to be able to find the solutions. Part of that is just the principles. How we are doing that, regardless of the positioning, I put them in the pockets, outside, inside, 3 on the back, 2 in the middle. Regardless of that, is playing with tempo, play in a sprint, play fast the ball, move them side to side, trying to unbalance them by the quality of our passes, but with pace. And that's kind of the main thing we are talking about. Also runs in behind, wall passes, counter movement. So a lot of things to throw out there to have different options to break a back line of 5 or 6 or 4. We need to work on that, and that's the evolution. Throughout the season, we'll continue with improvement.
What have you thought about the team's ability to press and counter press, especially the last couple games?
Very good. It's getting better and better. I would say that someone asked me before a couple of weeks ago, like if we wanted to press high every time, and yes, we want that, but at times you saw the differences. We were winning already, and then the team kind of settled in a middle block, lower block, and we were very comfortable there as well. So happy with the moments we identified the cues to press and the areas where we want to press, and after that it's not about the pressing, it's about the transition to attack. After that is the runs, the inner runs, occupying the right spaces. We always talk about the opposite side being open. That's what happened with Caleb. So happy with all of that, and the team is feeling comfortable with that style, which is very good for me.
How much does having a striker like Miguel help with that pressing and counter pressing?
Yes, it helps. I mean, and I would say to everyone, you talk about desire, passion. Second half, even Yakumakis was defending across here on our own box, and Thiago Almada won a ball there in our back line against a tall player in the middle, and he was shielding the ball there in our own third, and then Luis drops back as well, and those tackle. Like, everybody is involved in attacking, everybody is involved in defending, and it's not just the 9. Miguel, Yaku, both are doing a great job on that, but it's Thiago, it's Luis, it's Derek, it's Caleb, it's Brooks, it's everyone, is fully committed, and that's what I like. That's what you as a coach, you always want. Everybody committed to the same cause.
What's Mateus' status for Saturday?
Same. He's out for the game. He hasn't trained with us. He's very close. He's already working on the field, but still, I don't think he's going to be available for the game.
What's Ozzy's timeline?
Still working on that. It's been a bit a slower progression than we were expecting for sure. But the good thing is now he's in a very good place. He's progressing and evolving now quickly. So I don't want to give you an expected time to return, but yeah, we're trying to make sure that when he comes back properly, and that's the main focus right now.
What do you think of Amar?
Sorry.
What do you think of Amar on Saturday, by the way?
Very good. I mean, even last year, a lot of people criticized me for putting Amar and all that in the rotation in the midfield. And at times I think we underestimate his abilities to press and we see him as a little guy that maybe is more on the ball and is more the connector and that. And yes, he's very good on that, but he's a very smart player to press. He's not like just the physical ability like Ibarra, the Santis, that they have the physicality to go and challenge for a ball. Isamar is smart. It's how he presses, what angle, how he blocks passing lanes, the timing of that, the visual cues to the ball goes side to the center back, and he's the one that jumping at the right time, blocking the forward pass. So he did a lot of those little things that helped the team. The first goal is a great pressure from him. So again, happy with him in there. Same as Rosetto the other day, he was very good. And I know if I put Gianni is the same and Santi is the same. Like I have a good group of midfielders that I think everyone adds something to our game, and everyone is going to be important.
We should mark improvement in defending set pieces this season. Is Brad being back a big factor in that? Have you just better scouting, maybe better understanding of where to be positioning? What's led to this success defending those set pieces?
It's a little bit of everything you just said, right? So last year, yes, the goalkeeper kind of, not just the quality, but the understanding of the roles. Purata helped a lot. If you remember, first part of the season, we were not that good in set pieces. When Purata arrived, also helped that. Miles is a monster there, like how he defends the set pieces. So he's having two very good pieces there. Miguel is very good in the air in that near post space. Yaku is the same. We have guys also that mark man for man, because we have some hybrid style or tactic to defend the set pieces, where some guys are more man for man, some others are more zonal, and the guys man for man are also doing a good job at blocking the guys and making sure they don't get the first header. So it's a collective effort. Diego, my assistant, is the main one on set pieces, and he's doing a good job with them, watching film. So it's a bit of everything that help to be a little bit better on set pieces.
Gonzalo, two
Yes.
quick questions for you. First of all, I was the one that asked you after Toronto if you're going to press.
Oh, yeah,
well,
I was here.
remember?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned that that should be a goal at home, because I noticed against Toronto, the team was committed. They were very effective, especially in wide channels. But in preseason, you mentioned that when you sort of reflected on the last season, that being a bit more pragmatic in parts of the field was something you wanted to incorporate. Where is that happening? Is that something that you're seeing in terms of perhaps, is it game management, or where do you see that happening?
Well, it can be. For me, I was talking about the reflection of last year with the group of players I had available for that part of the season, and where I tried to continue with pressing high, and I had a very young team and kind of unexperienced team, and I was trying the same, which I'm proud of, but at the same, the reflection comes, was that the right idea to get the results? Okay. But I think now we're seeing kind of the benefits of that is we don't doubt on doing things, and that's a good side. Now, when it comes to the opponents and playing away, playing at home, it depends on the opponents, type of opponents that we face. If they are good at playing from the back, if they are not that good, if we are confident on pressing high in certain moments, if we're confident more with the middle block, and from there we know there's going to be a space for us to transition in attack. There are tactics, game plans, scouting. There are many things involved in how we approach the game. So again, game by game, we will make those decisions. Overall, yes, we want to press high, we want to be aggressive, we want to regain the balls as soon as possible, but there might be some games where maybe we do a little bit different, and that's part of the game plans.
And then my last question, you obviously know Garth really well. Is there anything that you've noticed that he's incorporated here at the club, whether it's culture-wise, a leadership style, an approach to management? Is there anything that you're noticing that Garth is doing here in Atlanta?
Well, I think it's just a short period of time, right, to really notice the big changes that I'm sure he's going to put in all of us. What I notice is he's been very open in the conversations, been always like that since Seattle. He likes good communication. He likes to be involved in many things. He wants to know what's going on, and we're happy with that. We're a very open coaching staff. We are data driven, the same as he is. So I think there are a lot of things that I know that he likes that we already do, and he's gonna start to put his mark on the team as well, but he needs time. He's more of a methodical guy that does that by years, not just 2-3 months. So we will see. So far, very good. The communication with him has been very open. With him and Carlos and I, we've been in constant communication. So everything so far is good. Okay.
Have y'all been able to use any of the information provided by the new data partners yet?
No yet, but I mean, I know Ravi is a good friend of mine. Is very, very good in what he does. And we had last week a couple, meetings and communication about kind of what we're going to do and that, but he's not yet kind of helping full time.
Gotcha.
We're starting that process and that, but I'm sure he's going to help us massively on that department of the data analyst. We like always good information, good data that helps the soccer side, and I think he's going to help massively to that regard. So yeah.
And how's Miles look so far? He said in the preseason if he didn't come back bigger and faster, he was going to be disappointed. How does he look through the first 3 games?
I mean, he looks good. He looks good. I don't know if it's my perception of thinking that he's faster or stronger or smarter at how he press. Yeah, maybe, or we just forgot how fast and how good he was. Maybe because it's been a long time. But overall, he looks fantastic. Better than I expected, to be honest. I expect the first couple games kind of be hesitant or not fully aggressive or like that. But he seems to be very good, as if nothing happens to him, and I like that part. And actually, yes, at times he looks faster.
Right.
So yeah, hopefully we can keep him healthy, and the management of our load in training sessions is appropriate when we limit a little bit more him, when we take some time on the field in a proper way, so we are not trying to achieve too much in the first year back, but we get what he is now is very good.
And his speed and just one-on-one defending, how is that enabling the teammates to really be aggressive with the presses and the counter presses, knowing if I get beat, he's still going to be able to mop up whatever happens?
Yeah, massively. I mean, that's part of why at times is the personnel matters, right? It's just the style and many things and the game model, but yeah, personnel matters a lot. And I would say that yes, him individually is very good. What I would say is collectively that back line and the midfielders are every time are more aware of the active defending, what we call the active defending. Give me a better name, please.
I've thought I can't think
But
of a better one.
yeah, please help me because I don't like it. But active defending is getting better and better, and we are less exposed in transition just by the shape. And then yes, if somehow we are unprotected, I know Miles may solve many of those chances. Yeah. Okay. Sí, claro.
Si puedes hablar un poco de este partido enfrentando a Portland y qué esperas de ellos.
El partido de Portland creo que lo decía un poco en inglés, que si algo conozco de Portland es que son un equipo que son siempre competitivos, nunca se rinden, no creo que estén sintiéndose mal por tener muchas lesiones o quejándose. Es un equipo que siempre lucha, especialmente desde que está Gio. Es un equipo muy competitivo. Muchas partes de algunos torneos atrás no tuvieron a sus DPs, ni a Valeri ni a Blanco, y era un equipo que corría, luchaba y hacía complicado todo. Entonces espero un partido así, una batalla, un equipo que va a jugar cada balón como si fuera el último. Se van a venir a matar acá al Mercedes-Benz. Tenemos que estar preparados para eso. Entonces preparo a mis jugadores para la intensidad con balón, la intensidad sin balón sea un sello de este partido. Así lo espero. Ok, gracias. Yes.
3 games in, do you feel 100% now? Do you feel like your old self?
Yeah, getting there for sure. It's every game. It's continued growth, a continuation of raising the bar and trying to be as sharp as I can.
Is there anything that you realize you can't do yet, or?
No. I don't think there's anything that my body's saying, "Oh, I cannot do that." So I feel good in that aspect.
And how do the defense? You got the first clean sheet. Y'all really limited opponents' chances through the first 3 games. How do you feel it's coming together?
Yeah, there's still definitely areas where looking back at video and looking back at clips. How do we deal with different situations? How do we, you're striving for perfection, right? And so every play, every pass, every ball, can we be a step this way, a step that right way? How do we fine tune things? And so that's now the process.
It's really early. 3 games in undefeated, though.
Yeah.
First place at Atlanta United. Has to feel good. But honestly, I might be wrong, but I don't know if the team has started undefeated ever, maybe? I don't know. Yeah. So what is that a sign of?
No, I think it's a sign of, when I talked to you guys before the first game of the season, talking about what preseason was all about in terms of, the understanding, the terms of getting better with each and every game, with every training session. I think that's what it's a sign of more and more clarity, more and more understanding of each other, understanding of the tactics of what the manager and the coaches are asking of the players. And then obviously in terms of execution, going out and getting close to it, because like I said, it's not been perfect or great for an entire 90 minutes, and that's what we're clearly striving for.
Portland comes in, anytime the Timbers come to the stadium, there's sort of like a flashback to 2018. What do you take away from these types of matchups against Western Conference teams that are traveling all the way to Atlanta? You guys are in a good spot. They aren't really in a good spot. They're a good team, obviously, but what's the goal other than continuing on this evolution?
Yeah, we need to get after them. We need to make sure we put them on the back foot. We put them under pressure. That we take the game to them. It's not easy, these cross country flights. It's not easy with the time zone and trying to get acclimated, and then all of a sudden you're hearing the referee blow the whistle for the start of the game, and it's like, oh, the game started. The outlook has to be on us and what we bring into the game and how we approach the game. And so we know they've got good players. We know obviously they've got a few injuries. They've will clearly be traveling. All these things considered, we need to be looking at ourselves.
What about the home field? Over the years, teams have gotten good results here. It feels like this is a good opportunity to change that. Is the team understanding that? Everything that you've mentioned from the small details, I think it ladders up to making home field advantage
for sure.
A big part of this.
You have to, and we know with our supporters behind us, with a rocking Mercedes-Benz Stadium, that it's a difficult place to play, and we need to make sure that we make it a fortress as best we can in terms of not allowing teams the confidence to come and play, but then also not picking up points and allowing us to say, right, we're going to take max points at home, and we're playing at home, and this is what we're about at home, and this is who we are, and try and stop us, sort of thing, and almost like a bullish attitude of when we step on that field, on that turf, that is, we're there for business, and we're going to take care of it.
Question about Garth. What have you noticed perhaps in his leadership or his presence around the club that stands out to you?
To be honest, I think he's got a lot on his plate in terms of running the club. In terms of being with the players, it's not as if we're with him. We may see each other in passing in the cafeteria or in the hallway or something, but it's not like there's a whole lot of interaction, and so I wouldn't be able to fairly comment on that specifically, just because there's not enough to give you.
He told me recently that goalkeepers typically end up in being effective in leadership positions after they play. You're going to be in TV, so I guess it doesn't matter. But what do you feel about
Face
that?
for TV, isn't it?
Because he was a goalkeeper. That's
no, of course, and we've chatted about that. We've chatted about that, and I think when you look at the position of goalkeeper in general, that's part of the job description. You have to be able to organize. You have to be able to problem solve. You have to be able to communicate in a way that gets the best out of the guys in front of you, and maybe that's screaming at somebody, or then maybe putting my arm around somebody else, or kicking this guy up the backside saying, hey, let's go, the game started, sort of thing. So I think it comes with the territory of being a goalkeeper, and obviously he's had a fantastic career so far in terms of what he's been able to do after playing, and I think when you look at goalkeepers in general, it's just, I think it almost comes natural.
So your perspective as a goalkeeper, through 3 matches, seems like there's much more improvement in defending set pieces. That's been a big focus for fans, supporters, I'm sure, in your training sessions. What do you think has led to the improvement in that aspect of the game through these first 3 matches?
I think just ruthlessness, accountability. Set pieces are a massive part of the game, obviously, and you've got to be able to defend your box. You've got to be able to put teams under pressure when you have a set piece, and you have to be able to take advantage. And so, just that ability and bravery to say, I'm either A, not going to let my guy score, or B, I'm going to go and put my head in the mixer, and I may come out with a cut, or so be it, but I'm going to make sure that I get there first and win the ball.
You're very aggressive in the box, and you've come across some of your teammates' hands and hit them and things like that. How do you handle that? Just as not handle it, but is that just part of the game? You're going to bump into somebody, you apologize afterwards, you just give them a pat on the back? How do you handle that?
Yeah, but I think
How do they handle it?
well, that question should probably be directed for Franco Escobar. It's part of the game.
Different injuries.
All part of the game. So
That poor guy.
yeah.
Do they come to you afterwards? Do you just say, I'm sorry, or
Yeah,
Start
that's
next time?
my bad. Try to get out of the way quicker. Simple as that, really.
Hey, Brad, I want to get your perspective on Caleb Wiley and the week that he had. You've seen him since he was just a little guy bouncing around here. As a captain, what is it to see that homegrown do that?
Yeah, I think more importantly than obviously the goals, I think there's just the confidence that he has on the field and the accountability that he's taken to, one, be in the first 11, but then two, to go on and be an important player for us. A guy that is the reliable, dependable, and we know when the ball goes out to him that he's going to say, yeah, come on, give me the ball, and I'm going to take somebody on, or I'm going to get to the end line, or in the case of last week, score 2 goals, right? So, that part has been really impressive to see, and we still give him we keep him humbled, we keep him grounded here, Monday to Friday, but it's that part's exciting. He's got obviously has a bright future ahead of himself, but I think he's got the right work ethic, the right mentality to go on and do great things. But for him, it's day by day, week by week.
Brad, what did you think of the Unified event last night?
Yeah, it was.
Why has it been so important for you to be involved with that?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I've always said, the unified team is always, it's a special encounter in terms of going out to trainings, going to the games, seeing the kids on the road trip, and what it means to them to spend a night in a hotel, potentially without their parents and just with their teammates. Little things that you and I probably take for granted that some of these kids have never done before. And so to be able to give them that opportunity to see the smile that it brings to their face, that to me is really cool. And so to be a part of it last night, another successful event in terms of the signing session, and they were all buzzing afterwards. I think there were a few nerves going up there in front of the crowd and the attendance and all that, but afterwards they were having a good time and seeing with the supporters. So I think everyone enjoyed it.
Miles said in the preseason that if he didn't come back bigger or stronger and faster, he was going to be disappointed. How does he look to you so far through these first 3 games?
Yeah, he looks really good. I was never doubting the bigger and stronger and faster part. For me, I think the part that's really impressed me is his calmness on the ball and his ability to find passes and take the ball under pressure and find an outlet, because I think if you look in preseason, there were times where maybe he's tried to hit a diag, or maybe he's tried to hit a ball down the channel, or just a bit under pressure and, let me get rid of this, whatever. Now I think over the last 3 weeks you started to see him, give me the ball under pressure, let me hold off the striker and find a ball into, Luis, into Brooks, into Franco Ibarra, whatever it may be, right, into a midfielder. So, I think he's been great.
I have a last question. I know it's early again, but how would you describe right now the spine of the team? Like we've asked you over the years, the back line, you've had injuries, people moving in and out, the midfield. So far, just talking to Jason, the counter pressing has been really impressive to start. How would you describe the evolution of the spine?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think when from the outside, everyone is very quick to judge new players when they come into a team, right? And some players settle a lot quicker than others. And when I say quicker than others, I'm talking maybe it takes them a month to settle or 2 months to settle, as opposed to maybe a year to settle, or 6 months or 8 months or a year and a half, right? And so I think you're starting to see players that have, one, settled in to Atlanta United. Two, have settled into understanding the tactics of how we want to press, how we want to play, and almost knowing that, okay, if this guy goes, I've got to be here, or that guy goes, I've got to be there, and what do I have to do when this happens or when that happens? And I think when you have that, it starts to look like we know what we're doing. And so, that's encouraging that you guys are saying that it looks good from upstairs. But yeah, it's an ongoing process, and I don't think it's so much the spine in the team as it is the understanding of the 11 guys on the field at the moment.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brian.